My name is Heidi Glisson, and this is my review of data meeting number 5. I had the privilege of working with Tiffany this week. It was a little different working in just a partner duo, just the two of us, instead of having a group of 3, but it still worked out well. One of my questions for Tiffany during data meeting number 5 was whether or not she thought it was more beneficial to just work with one other person instead of having a group of 3 to bounce ideas off of. And her answer was that she thought that it was a lot easier having to only communicate with 2 people. And I actually had to agree with that answer because the communication between Tiffany and I was really good. Once we first messaged each other in the discussion area, we exchanged phone numbers, so we were exchanging text to communicate with each other, we were emailing to communicate with each other, we were adding documents to this Google Drive, as you can see, where I've added and she has added, and we were also met on Google Hangouts to meet virtually in that way. So the communication throughout this process was consistent and back and forth. I do like that I had a group of 3 throughout the process. There were times where one or all of us would have questions, but we were able to throw out ideas on what we thought something meant, and then between the 3 of us, we were able to figure out what was supposed to be going on during that particular data meeting. So as I said, we set up this folder and we added our documents so we could review. One of the things, what Tiffany's team focused on were word problems in the math classroom, which is always a focus at any level. Students struggle with word problems. And I really like that as I was going through each week of her documents, in my head the whole time I was thinking, that we need to do word problems throughout the week. And I was happy to see that by the end of data meeting number 4, her and her partner's artifacts were talking about incorporating those word problems throughout the unit and not just at the end, and making sure that there was ample time. So it seemed like they really benefited from this data meeting process, and they really got out of it what they needed to get out of it based on the data that they were presented. So we also were able to take notes and communicate back and forth through a Google Doc. So she was able to give me her likes and her wonders and a couple of questions for clarification, and I was able to give her my likes and wonders and a couple of questions for clarification. So it really worked to be able to type notes here. I read an article recently about how students were collaboratively taking notes during their college class sessions, where they would do individual note taking, and then if they had questions they would add it into the group doc. So I really liked that idea of being able to take notes together and then have this extra artifact to add to our folder so that we can look back on it as we're going through this process with our own school teams throughout the school year.